Welcome to Mr. Worldwide News English Channel.
Hey everyone, and welcome. I'm Maya.
And I'm Leo. It's great to have you with us.
Today, we're diving into a topic that pretty much everyone can relate to, scars.
That's so true. I mean, whether it's from falling off a bike or maybe surgery, most of us have at least one. So in this explainer, we're going to get into the science of how they form and what we can do to help them fade.
But wait, before we jump in, Leo, I have a little pop quiz for you. Did you know that your skin actually has 3 different layers?
Wow, 3? Seriously? I have to admit, I really only think about the top part, the bit we can actually see.
Right? It's pretty cool. And honestly, our whole topic today is all about those layers and what happens when they get injured. That makes perfect sense. I think pretty much everyone has a scar they can think of. So let's break it down. According to the health experts we looked at, whether you get a scar or not really depends on just one thing: how deep the injury is. So it all goes back to those 3 layers of skin. So let's say I just get a little scratch on my knee and it only hurts that very top layer. What happens then?
Good news! Experts say if it's just a small scratch on that top layer, like we see here on the left, it heals up perfectly, no scar at all. But if that cut goes down into the second or even third layer, then yeah, you're always going to get a scar.
And that's when your body starts this huge repair process. So, first thing, as you can see in step 1, the blood has to stop. Then, for step 2, the area gets red and warm. This is something called inflammation.
Wait a minute, let me just check. Red and warm? That sounds kind of bad. Is that an infection?
You know, a lot of people think that, but actually no, it's a good thing. Your body is doing that on purpose to clean everything out and fight off any bad germs. After that, your body starts to rebuild, and finally, new tissue forms to cover the whole area.
That is just amazing. The human body is so incredibly smart. But I remember our research saying that we can actually make mistakes when we're healing, right? So what are the things we should avoid doing?
Yes, definitely. So the experts say the #1 mistake is stress. Stress hormones are just really bad for wound healing. You should also avoid smoking and alcohol, which makes sense. But here's one that really surprised me. Don't use too much ice or anti-inflammatory medicine. And finally, stay out of the sun. UV radiation can actually change the color of your new scar for good. Now, I just want to go back to that point about ice because this is fascinating. A little bit is okay, but it turns out that too much of it can literally stop your body's own natural healing process. Wait, what? No ice? That is so surprising. I always put ice on a bump or a cut. That's the first thing I do. I know. It's surprising, isn't it? So now that we know what we should not be doing, let's flip that around and talk about the best ways to actually take care of a scar. So, doctors say we need to reduce any pulling or stretching on the skin. You can use a tight bandage to help with that, and once the cut is totally closed, you can rub a special gel on it and gently massage the scar. This really helps it become softer.
And use lots of sunscreen, of course. But Leah, what if a scar is really itchy or painful or it feels very, bumpy?
That's a great question. If a scar hurts a lot or feels very raised, you should definitely go see a doctor. They have special treatments that can really help out. Okay, my brain is just full of all these amazing facts. But before we go any further, I think it's the perfect time for our vocabulary break. Let's look at some of the most important news words from today's topic. Great idea, Maya. So our first word is fade, F-A-D-E. Fade is a verb, and it just means to slowly become less bright or less visible over time. For example, if you use sunscreen, your scar will begin to fade.
That's what we want our scars to do. That is a very useful word.
Perfect. Okay, our second word is tissue, T-I-S-S-U-E. Now, when we're talking about health and science, tissue means the material that plants and animals are made of. For example, the body builds new skin tissue to heal the cut.
And that's such a great point, Maya. This is very different from a tissue that you use when you have a cold. This is the scientific word for, well, the stuff our bodies are made of.
Very clear. Okay, our third word is a bit long, but it is very important. Inflammation. I-N-F-L-A-M-M-A-T-I-O-N. This is a noun. And inflammation is when a part of the body becomes red, swollen, and hot.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is, but it's a key part of healing. For example, ice can help reduce inflammation after you hurt your ankle. Just remember, not too much ice.
And our final word today is tension. Tension. Tension is a noun that just means the state of being stretched really tight. So for example, do not walk too much if you cut your foot because the tension will hurt the scar.
Exactly. And that's why doctors recommend using bandages to help reduce that tension on the skin. Great word, Maya.
Excellent job, Maya, and I hope everyone listening wrote those words down. So let's step back for a second. Why does all this matter? I mean, we all get cuts and scrapes. Why is it so important to talk about them?
You know, I think this quote really says it perfectly. Scars tell a story about our lives.
I completely agree. Sometimes they're a reminder of a fun adventure, like climbing a tree when we were kids. But sometimes they remind us of accidents or more difficult moments. Either way, they really are a part of our personal history.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that's really the main point here, that taking care of our bodies by managing our stress and protecting our skin, it all really makes a difference. It just shows that our bodies are constantly working so hard to protect us. We really should be kind to them. So well said, Maya. And that brings us right to our final thought for all of you out there. We want to hear from you. Do you have a scar with a funny or maybe an interesting story behind it?
Yes! Tell us your answer in English in the comments below. We always love reading your responses. Thanks so much for joining our explainer today.